In these equations, there is something being added to the x. And in order to solve it, we need to use the idea of inverses. Now, this series actually started with another video which you might want to take a look at if these types of problems are new to you. Because in this series of problems, we're going to use subtraction to get rid of this addition, but it's going to end up being with negative numbers. The first video doesn't have any negative numbers in it, so it's just a little bit easier. So we're still going to anchor ourselves to the equal sign. Remember that our equal sign is like a balance point. We have to take away things from the left and take away things from the right at the same time. That's going to be our idea of inverses. Since this is the number 5 and it is positive, we know that in order to get rid of it, we are going to subtract 5. This is our inverse. And let me go ahead and write that word inverse here. Learning math vocabulary can be difficult, but it's really important to being able to do word problems. Since we're trying to keep this balanced like a scale and we've just subtracted 5 from here, we are also going to subtract 5 from this side. This is going to set us up for our vertical addition problem. X plus nothing is x. So we're just adding this way, the way we would if we were just doing addition. A positive 5 and a negative 5 cancel each other out. The equal sign is always in the center of our scale, our balance. And here's where we're going to start to work with negative numbers. So 1 minus 5, so it's a small number minus a bigger number. 1 minus 5 leaves negative 4. Now, if this is confusing to you, you might want to review integer operations, which is a whole nother video playlist that you can follow from me in order to use these negative numbers. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And so our final answer is x equals negative 4. Let's go ahead and do another one. Remember that we want to think about that equal sign as anchored in place. It's never going to move. And it might seem a little silly to do it with just these small problems that we have now, but when the problems get more complex, this can really be, okay, I know what to do. The very first thing I do is we never move the equal sign. All right, so in this one, our inverse, again, we start off with adding 8 to the x. We're going to use our inverse to subtract 8. That's going to create the number 0 and get rid of these. But since it's a balance, we have to do it to both sides. This creates our addition problem. X plus nothing is x. Positive 8 minus 8 is 0, or cancels. The equal sign stays exactly where it is, and 2 minus 8 is negative 6. So our final answer in this case is x equals negative 6. Let's go ahead and do 2 more problems that are just slightly different. So you can see in those previous problems, we had x plus 5 equals positive 1, right? Everything was positive, and when we subtracted, we ended up with a negative number. In these problems, we're starting off with something that is equal to a negative number. But remember, in order to anchor ourselves to just begin, even when we're facing a problem that looks really new, and this can trip our brain up sometimes, we can look and go, uh-oh, that's a negative, that's new, therefore I don't know what to do. And we just have to calm that feeling down and think to ourselves, no, I have an equal sign and I know exactly what to do with an equal sign. I am going to anchor it in place. And then as you look at the rest of the problem and ask yourself, what do I have? I can start to think, okay, what do I have and what do I know what to do? We have an x that we're looking for, and it's adding a 2 to that x. And so I know how to get rid of that. I can subtract a 2. And I remember that this is our scale, right? This is where we balance. We have to do it to both sides. So we're going to subtract 2 from this side as well. That leads us to our vertical addition, and I'm just going to add things up exactly as I see them. This is really important. X plus nothing is X. 2 minus 2 cancels each other out and is 0. The equal sign stays exactly where it is. And negative 3 minus 2. So this is a new situation, right? Negative 3 minus 2. Remember that when we have two numbers that are both negative, we add them up to make negative 5. If this was a positive 3 plus 2, we would add them up to make positive 5. Positive 3 plus 2, positive 5. Negative 3 minus 2, negative 5. I get a lot of questions here about, wait, I thought that was a subtraction sign, not a negative sign. And I have an entire video talking about, is there a difference between subtraction and negatives? So you might want to watch that. All right, so now that we know that negative 3 and negative 2 make negative 5, we have our final answer. Let's go ahead and do another problem exactly the same. Now what you might want to do is go ahead and pause the video here and see whether or not you can solve this before I work it out. My first step, again, is always going to be drawing that line. This gives us a way to put our pencil to the paper, even if we're stuck. And then we're going to analyze what we have. We have an x plus 4. I know how to get rid of things that are adding to my x. I can subtract from both sides. Now I want to make sure that we're adding these up exactly as we see them, right? We need to line these up. I have a lot of students that accidentally mix up the order, so you just want to make sure that you're being very careful to add these up vertically. X plus nothing is X. Positive 4 and negative 4 cancel each other out. The equal sign stays exactly where it is, and negative 7 with negative 4 make negative 11. So my answer here is x equals negative 11. So now what can happen if we have these things all mixed up? You can see in these two problems, I've put the x on the other side of the equation. And if this looks really unfamiliar to you, you might want to review that previous video again, because I do show you exactly how to handle these. But again, even if this looks totally unfamiliar to you, the first thing we're always going to do is to draw that line and anchor that equal sign down. Now you can see that on the left I have a positive number equals x plus 5, and on the right I have a negative number equals x plus 6. We are still going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to look at our x and say to ourselves, we have to get rid of what's attached to the x, right? We want to get rid of this 5. In order to get rid of the 5, we have to use inverses. This is a plus 5. So we're going to subtract 5. Once we've done that, we need to make sure to do it on the other side of the equal sign as well by subtracting 5 over here. Now, remember, we're going to go in order. We're going to add this, this, and then this in order. 2 minus 5, so little minus big, leaves us with negative 3. We take the difference. Equal sign stays where it is. X plus nothing is x. And a positive 5 and a negative 5 cancel each other out. This does not matter at all. Because they are equal to each other, we can simply reverse their order, the symmetric property, and we're done. Let's do it one more time, but this time with a negative number. So now we have the x is over here. We want to get rid of anything attached to the x. To get rid of positive 6, we subtract 6 from both sides. -1 minus 6. They're both negative, so we add them together. Equal sign stays where it belongs. X plus nothing is x, and positive 6 minus 6 is 0. And so our answer here, when we flip it around, is x equals -7. I hope that helped. Good luck.